man.
Ah. This is what happens when you spend half the evening fixing up a water pump and then spend the other half digging shallow graves. Oh god, I'm starting to see why Benny and the cons didn't bother to dig mine any deeper. It takes work. Oh, easy for you to say. You did fuck all to help. At least Rex here tried to eat the bodies so that it would be a little easier to bury. Yeah, we need to have a little chat about that later, boy. But anyway, if you know where I can buy a metal spine, then say so. Not that I would bother to dig graves for every scumbag we kill. That was a special request from the Casa Madrid.
First recon's at Camp Forlorn Hope. Now we've got a chance to hold it.
Oh, they better, considering how we took Nelson out of the equation.
You found out what happened to those missing refugees?
Ah yes, Dermot and St. James kidnapped them and sold them off as slaves. To the Fiends, no less. In other words, don't bother sending rescue parties. Those slaves are long dead.
How do you know? Did you find proof?
Not gonna take my word for it, huh? Okay, how about a whole journal's worth of sales history in excruciating detail? I guess they have to maintain a decent portfolio for the next piece of shit they sell to. Don't worry about those two. I buried them just outside of town. I think Westside would rather we forget this little incident ever happened. Well, joke's on them. I left their heads hanging on the town gate.
Oh, sick bastards. Can't say I'll shed any tears for them. Here, you've earned this.
Well, it's more than what the people of Westside gave me. The owner of that hotel actually told me to fuck off because I killed two of his most loyal customers. Talk about profiting from crime. On a lighter note, what you just gave me was more than what I got for liberating Nelson. You know, I used to think that the NCR is just tight-fisted in general, but now I'm really confused. Maybe they're paying me more now because of my reputation? In that case, what a bunch of a-holes! You would happily pay a nobody next to nothing to do the same fucking job? This is why mercenaries need to unionize. Anyway, I think it's time we told Colonel Frigid what happened at the Gomorrah. God forbid she hears about it first from somebody else. If anybody is gonna embellish anything, it's gotta be me. So I popped his eyes out with a slap to the back of the head, and then I put them back in with a flying kick to the face. Yeah, that's starting to sound like a plausible scenario. Let's go with that. Still only one guard on this side of the dam. I guess it's a testament to how much confidence they have regarding the stability of the Vegas area. Thanks to the Courier and his gang, when do we get our own motivational posters and statues made? I'll even pay for the commission, but I want those things plastered or standing in every NCR outpost in the Mojave. They might struggle with your statue, Eddie, considering how they will have to make it float, but I'm sure they'll figure it out if they want the money badly enough.
Gomorrah is under new management after the sudden departure of Omerta bosses Nero and Big Sol. The casino's new manager spoke to reporters.
Whoa, hang on, that's already on the news? God damn it, why did I wait a whole day to report on this? Now I have to set the record straight. Although to be fair, the only source they could have had there was one of the Omertas, and everybody knows you can trust them as far as you can throw them. But you can always trust what I'm saying.
Morning.
Isn't that right, soldier? You trust me? Oh, don't worry, he's already eaten. No pressure. Ah, who am I kidding? You can trust me if the only alternative is an Omerta thug. It's all relative. Besides, I might be all over the place with the details, but you'll get the broad strokes.
Nelson's back in our hands. I hope we can defend it this time.
And the broad strokes are all people like you ever need. Or can ever remember, I suppose. And I'm sure the President appreciates that very much. But now I've got to speak to someone who's a bit higher up the food chain. Close to the top, actually. I've always wondered if I would be more impressed by the people working at high command. But really, I'm just more disturbed. I'm here to see Colonel Moore. No, I'm not going to show you my identifications. Huh. Never mind, she's not in. Damn it.
Smart move for the Kings to back down. They didn't know who they were messing with.
Well, you outgunned them by like 100 to 1. I wouldn't be so proud of that. Hey, soldier, you know where Colonel Moore is?
President Kimball is going to arrive pretty soon to give his speech and meet that wounded soldier.
President? The president?
Wish I could have been there to see Caesar die. What an asshole.
Ah yes, I forgot you guys have the attention span of a rat roach. My bad. Did I just see the colonel grabbing a quick bite? I guess it is early in the day, but I always assume the military does everything earlier anyway, like you're all living in the +1 hour time zone or something.
Have you discovered what the Omertas are up to?
Good grief, lady, we can talk after breakfast. I'm not that busy. I guess I should have made an appointment. Oh, okay, fine. The Omerta bigwigs were coordinating with the Legion to do some murdering on Shit Meet the Fan Day. So, naturally, I popped out their eyes with a slap to the back of the head and then put them back in with a flying kick to the face. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Basically, crisis averted. You can fucking smile now.
Excellent. You'd think living in the lap of luxury and power would be enough for some people, but no. But we have other problems. While investigating the Omertas, what little I could on my end, I came across something much more sinister. Evidence suggests that Mr. House is planning to make some kind of move when the battle breaks out, and I'm guessing he won't be coming to our rescue.
Well,
we don't know what his exact plans are. My orders are to take no risks. I'm sending you to take Mr. House out of the equation.
Whoa!
Any questions?
Yes? Shit just got escalated to the fucking stratosphere. How long has this been a thing? You realize the guy is a businessman, right? Someone who only cares about revenue and fuck all else? Well, things are working pretty well for him so far. What else could he be up to?
To name a few things off the top of my head, expand his borders, get the NCR and Legion to wipe each other out, and seize Hoover Dam. Any other questions?
Good lord, I didn't think you were the paranoid type. So this is what it's like talking to me. Well, you're basically trying to commission an assassination against the head of a foreign state, based on, what, a hunch?
We've had reported sightings of Mr. House's Securitron spying on both NCR and Legion forces. Also, given a recent analysis of the sightings, we now estimate that Mr. House has at least 4 times as many Securitrons as previously assumed. He wouldn't show his hand like that if he weren't prepared to move. And neither the NCR or Legion can spare the troops to investigate. Which is why I'm sending you. Any other questions?
Oh, way to throw me into the fire. Did you not hear the part about him being the head of a foreign state? As in, he's kind of the closest thing to law and order on the strip right now? What do you think is holding this house of cards together? If he dies, it all comes crashing down and it's gonna hit everyone in Vegas like a sack of bricks.
Perhaps, but that's not my problem. Vegas is a nice place for the men to go on vacation, but it'd be an acceptable loss next to the dam.
Acceptable loss? Acceptable loss. Wow. Well, I guess it's a testament to how much faith you have in me. Oh, I really have come a long way from whacking powdergangers and fiends, haven't I? Well, if you excuse me, a job like this is gonna take a lot of planning and setting up.
Good, then you have your orders. See that Mr. House does not present a problem. Dismissed.
Yep, I'll get straight on that. Oh, I'm not gonna need to check in with you. You'll know when it happens. Everyone is gonna know when it happens. Acceptable loss. Boy, am I glad Arcade wasn't with us. He would need to bleach his brain all over again. Actually, I'm glad none of the other guys was with us. I'm not sure how well any of them would have taken that, even Boo. Well, you have the luxury of wiping your memory. We don't. Oh god, you and Rex go back to the suite and recharge. I need a word with the landlord. Don't tell anyone anything until I get back. Got it? I need to figure this out.
We're hearing rumors that Caesar may have been assassinated by an unknown party. It is currently not known how the assassin was able to evade security.
Wow! You took your fucking time reporting that one! It's only the most important piece of news so far this decade. I can't imagine how anyone would give a shit about that! Fuck me.
If it isn't our favorite VIP.
Look, pal, either get me some margaritas or fuck off. I'm not in the mood for this. I suppose it wouldn't be easier for the reporters to get close enough to the Legion camp to verify anything, but still, they might have picked his replacement by now. When are they gonna report on that? Oh well, not my problem. At least not yet. Hey there, Bobby. How are your circuits holding up today?
The next step is to add the Boomers' considerable firepower to my growing arsenal, or at the very least, ensure their neutrality.
Oh god, not very well, apparently. Well, I was hoping for some casual conversation, maybe a history lesson or two, but damn, you're really trying hard to convince me you're a computer today, aren't you?
I'd rather you just dealt with the Boomers, but all right.
Oh, relax. The Boomer Elders are meditating on my offer right now to see if it pleases the god of explosions. You know what these tribals are like. They'll let me know when they're ready, so I have time to kill. By the way, I'm surprised you haven't asked me what happened to Benny. That guy nearly wrecked everything you were planning, so I assumed you would take it personally.
That's because he ceased to be relevant when you recovered the platinum chip. Revenge doesn't interest me. Progress does. Sorry to deny you a moment of primate triumph, but you'll have to go elsewhere to sound your barbaric yawp. What else did you want to discuss?
Wow, for someone who owns a bunch of casinos, you sure know how to be a killjoy. Well, he's dead, if you haven't already figured that out. I applied a machete to his face. It was a fun evening. Something more relevant, though, is who else I killed at the Legion camp. You must know this by now if it's on the radio. Unknown party. Evade security? Yeah, we didn't evade security so much as cut straight through them with a chainsaw.
By my calculations, his death will affect the shape of the battle for Hoover Dam minimally, if at all. The Legion's aggression will outlive Caesar. Indeed, they'll try to take the dam as a tribute to his memory. Given a year, they'd have him deified, but by then, the Legion will be breaking down, riven by internal conflicts, a monster consuming itself. It's irrelevant. In the short term, the Legion is still monster enough that defeating it will make me look powerful indeed. What else did you want to discuss?
That's it? That's all you have to say about the leader of a wasteland superpower? Fucking hell, you can't even give me this one? Well, I have to give you credit, you're right about it not affecting the short term. It's still gonna be a bloodbath at the dam either way. Not sure how the NCR is planning on dealing with that this time round.
General Oliver's strategy, or tunnel vision, as I like to call it, has been to mass troops at Hoover Dam. He wants to outfight the Legion in a straightforward slugging match, and then, when they rout, pursue and destroy them in detail. A crushing, decisive victory of this sort would overshadow the tactical ingenuity of Chief Hanlon's defense 4 years ago, you see.
Oh, and let me guess, you could do better than either of them? Care to explain how you would do that?
A good deal should be obvious to you by now. I won't spoil the rest by talking out of turn.
Oh, really? You might not like the conclusions I'm reaching. Something tells me you're gonna sit right back, let the NCR do all the hard work, and then swoop right in at the last second to take all the credit, like the self-entitled businessman you are, or at least pretending to be. And speaking of which, I've gotta know this. Other than literally sitting at the top of an ivory tower, what gives you the right to any of this? Who the hell are you, really?
I am Robert Edwin House, President, CEO, and sole proprietor of the new Vegas Strip. I oversaw the city's renovations starting from 2274 onward. The 3 families are my employees. Before the Great War of 2077, I was the founder, president, and CEO of Robco Industries, a vast computer and robotics corporation.
Robco? Wait a minute, did you make those useless Protectrons? Those things that make toasters seem intelligent? Holy shit, they really sold that well, huh? I guess you also made the Pip-Boy, so that kind of makes up for it. But hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. Am I speaking to the Robert House, or one of his computers pretending to be him?
Don't let the video screens and computer terminals fool you. I'm flesh and blood, not silicone.
Yeah, I'm having a difficult time believing that, and I've seen some weird shit. It's been over 200 years since the bombs fell, and you were already an established businessman even before that. So that means either you're actually a ghoul, or some kind of mutant. How many heads have you got? That should clear things up.
I see you've made a study of the topic. My knowledge of the science of longevity would fill several textbooks. Perhaps after a decade or 2 of economic reconstruction, I can commercialize these technologies and offer them to others, such as yourself.
At a premium fee, I bet. Well, I'm not spending a cap unless I know more about what's actually involved. Are you a brain in a jar? You are, aren't you?
Let's just say it was very costly. But I was willing to make the sacrifices longevity entailed, financial and otherwise.
Oh god, I'm not sure I like the implications there. Sounds to me like you had to cut off a body part or 2. Maybe an organ on top of that? Either way, I think I'll stick with regular mortality for now, thank you. I've had more near-death experiences than I can count. I must be doing something right. So let's say I believe you're really as old as you say you are. That means you knew what Vegas was like when 90% of it wasn't a pile of rubble.
It was a place of splendor. As magnificent as today's Strip may seem, it's but a shadow of the neon paradise that was Las Vegas. I grew up not far from here, and though I traveled the old world extensively, I never found another place like it.
And you liked it so much that you decided to almost die here. That's commitment, I'll give you that. I hope this place never slept with some other billionaire behind your back.
By 2065, I deemed it a mathematical certainty that an atomic war would devastate the Earth within 15 years. Every projection I ran confirmed it. I knew I couldn't save the world, nor did I care to, but I could save Vegas, and in the process, perhaps save mankind. I set to work immediately. I thought I had plenty of time to prepare. As it turned out, I was 20 hours short.
Time to prepare for what? You actually had a plan to save the city from nuclear bombs? Oh, I can't wait to hear how you're gonna spin this one.
On the day of the Great War, 77 atomic warheads targeted Las Vegas and its surrounding areas. My networked mainframes were able to predict and force transmit disarm code subsets to 59 warheads, neutralizing them before impact. Laser cannons mounted on the roof of the Lucky 38 destroyed another 9 warheads. The rest got through, though none hit the city itself. A suboptimal performance, admittedly. If only the platinum chip had arrived a day sooner.
77 warheads? Wow! The Chinese really wanted Vegas off the map. How much money did their people lose on the Strip to warrant that? Anyway, credit where credit is due. You reduced 77 warheads down to 9. I think you could pat yourself on the back for that one, assuming you can still do that. But how would the platinum chip have made any difference there?
The platinum chip was printed in Sunnyvale, California on October 22nd, 2077, the day before the Great War. It was to have been delivered by Courier the following afternoon, but by then, the world had ended. The chip contained vital software upgrades, but not just for my Securitrons. Every aspect of the missile defense grid would have been upgraded too. Given that I had to make do with buggy software, the outcome could have been worse. I nearly died as it was.
Nearly died? So much for the costly longevity procedure. How did you nearly die? Aren't you in a secure bunker or something? Please tell me you didn't just stuff yourself into a fridge and hope for the best.
Software glitches set off a cascade of system crashes. I had to take the Lucky 38's reactor offline, lest it melt down. For nearly 5 years, I battled power outages and more system crashes until I finally managed to reboot my data core with an older version of the OS. I spent the next few decades in a veritable coma, but I survived, obviously, and eventually thrived.
Well, I hate to admit this, but I pegged you wrong. I thought you were just a big shot with enough power to simply claim ownership over the Strip and nothing else. Turns out you actually did something tangible to earn that. So, Lord President House, now that you finally got your eyes, ears, hands, and guns back, what are you actually planning to do with your domain?
I've resurrected Vegas, spirit intact. What I need now is the ability to enforce my rightful claim. Not just against Caesar's Legion, by the way. In fact, the NCR is a more present and insidious threat.
Oh, is that what you think? I can't imagine how the NCR would feel about that. So, how do you intend to enforce your claim? I doubt you could win them over with your charming personality.
To enforce, one must have force, a position of strength. Years ago, when I detected NCR scouts roaming the Mojave, I could tell from their uniforms that these were no mere tribesmen. I knew it was only a matter of time before an army appeared to take control of the dam, and I knew my Securitrons wouldn't be enough to oppose them. And so I recruited the 3 families. Vegas belongs to me because I mustered enough strength to bring the NCR to the bargaining table.
Enough strength? You mean your Securitrons plus 3 gangs? The same 3 gangs that I'm already running circles around? No offense, but I fail to see how that would have impressed the NCR. We're talking about an army that's big enough to defeat the Brotherhood of Steel. I'm pretty sure they're big enough to do the same with your coalition.
Indeed it was, and still is, but not without taking significant casualties. Would Kimball and Oliver have traded the lives of hundreds of soldiers for absolute control of Hoover Dam? Oh, yes. They weren't afraid of me. They were afraid of Caesar, that attacking me would leave them vulnerable to a Legion offensive. And so they negotiated. Not out of the kindness of their hearts, as they try to make it seem, because the calculus of power left no other choice.
Well, aren't you a lucky man? Imagine if Caesar wasn't around, or if the NCR arrived just before the Legion became a real threat. What would you have done then? So what kind of terms did you negotiate?
NCR forces were permitted to occupy Hoover Dam and establish a military base at McCarran Airport. Well, it used to be one. They recognized my sovereignty over the Vegas Strip and agreed to supply electricity and water once their engineers repaired the dam. Written into the treaty were provisions that the NCR do nothing to prevent its soldiers and civilians from visiting the Strip. That's how I harnessed the NCR to my endeavor. Their occupation has been the engine of my growing economy.
Once again, you're pretty lucky you're dealing with a faction that actually respects laws and treaties. Imagine if you encountered the Legion first. Oh my, I don't think their idea of fun and relaxation suits Vegas all that well. And now you're talking like you're going to rip up that treaty and risk going to war with the NCR. You sure about that?
The salient issue is that they will go to war with me, if given the chance. There's just one reason why the NCR hasn't contrived some outrage to justify invading the Strip. Caesar's Legion. The final battle between those two armies is fast approaching. I can't afford to let either side win on their terms. What else did you want to discuss?
Oh, plenty. Are you familiar with the concept that the more complex a plan is, the more likely it will fail? Well, you're juggling with a lot of pieces there, that's all I can say for now. But let's put that aside and assume it all goes perfectly. What are you going to do once you're free to run things your way? Paint me a picture. What does your version of New Vegas look like?
New Vegas is more than a city. It's the remedy to mankind's derailment. The city's economy is a blast furnace in which can be forged the steel of a new rail line running straight to a new horizon. What is the NCR? A society of people desperate to experience comfort, ease, luxury. A society of customers. With all that money pouring in, give me 20 years and I'll reignite the high technology development sectors. 50 years and I'll have people in orbit. 100 years and my colony ships will be heading for the stars to search for planets unpolluted by the wrath and folly of a bygone generation.
Holy shit, that's a hell of a picture, I'll admit that. Unfortunately, all you've done there is describe the picture. There's no actual painting involved. Forgive me if I'm a little skeptical that you could actually achieve that, even if I believed nothing unexpected would happen between now and 100 years in the future, which it won't. And in the meantime, you will be, what, the undisputed dictator of Vegas?
I prefer the term autocrat. I would rule as a chief executive. I would not answer to a board of directors or any other entity. Nothing to impede progress. If you want to see the fate of democracies, look out the windows.
Oh, wow. I don't know whether I should be surprised by that or not. I mean, you have all the makings of a monarch, but you were born before the war. Wasn't democracy like a state religion or something back then? But regardless, I can't imagine a scenario where one semi-immortal man with a personal robot army and absolute power could go a little mad. I'm sure you have a failsafe for that, right?
My judgment. I have no interest in abusing others, just as I have no interest in legislating or otherwise dictating what people do in their private time. Nor have I any interest in being worshipped as some kind of machine god messiah. I am impervious to such corrupting ambitions. But autocracy? Firm control in the hands of a technological and economic visionary? Yes, that Vegas shall have. What else did you want to discuss?
Impervious to corrupting ambitions. That's almost as laughable as the concept that nuclear war would never happen thanks to mutually assured destruction. Forgive me, but I'm not exactly comfortable with the idea that you basically want to treat Vegas like one of those snow globes you love so much.
What of it? I enjoy them. There's something about a little diorama set inside a glass dome that I find pleasing. If you run across any out in the wastes, turn them in to Jane. She'll compensate you. What else did you want to discuss?
Wow, that metaphor completely went over your monitor. I couldn't give a shit if you collect snow globes. I just didn't realize why you do until now. It's a perfect little world encased in a bubble, one that you have absolute control over. And if you were so inclined, you could really give that thing a hard shake and cause all kinds of hell inside just because you can. I'll leave you to contemplate that for now. I'll be back when I get news from the boomers.
Goodbye.
Yes, mull it over. Unlike me, you actually have the luxury of quiet contemplation. I have to do that on the move or in the middle of a firefight. And while you're thinking about your imminent victory at Hoover Dam and all the cutting-edge technology you're going to develop in the years afterwards, spare a thought for the people who's literally struggling to get access to drinking water. Yeah, do us all a favor and put that one into your backlog, preferably higher up than space exploration, if you don't mind. Christ, I don't even know if it's listening anymore. Is this what being an advisor to a demigod feels like?
Hey, look who's here.
Still waiting for that margarita, pal. You can take it to the high roller suite. Actually, make that a whole tray full of margaritas. Cass will probably down most of them. Ah, if only he knew. Shit, is this elevator bugged?